How you guys doing? Sometimes the most common things can get you in trouble. Not by your mistake, but by other causes. The causes that cannot be explained. Her name was Sandy. She was 30 years old, single mom living in two-bedroom apartment in Minnesota with her son and her sister Natalie. Sandy worked at a mid-sized marketing firm downtown. Nothing glamorous, just a regular 9 to 5. Sometimes longer when deadlines hit, you know what I'm saying? She was the kind of person who just quietly handled everything. Bills, school runs, groceries, work, all of it, without complaining, without asking for much. Her son Jamie was 7. Natalie was younger than her by 4 years and helped around the house when she could. It was a Thursday night in late October. The kind of night where the rain doesn't just fall, it just settles over the whole city like it decided to stay. Sandy had stayed late at the office to finish a campaign presentation that was due first thing Friday morning. Everyone else had left by 7. By the time she finally saved the file and shut her laptop, it was almost 11. She texted Natalie, "Leaving now, don't wait up." Natalie replied with a thumbs up. Sandy grabbed her bag, turned her desk lamp off, and walked to the elevator. The office was on the 9th floor. Building was completely empty at that hour. Just that specific late-night silence that big office buildings get where every small sound feels too loud. Her heels on the floor, the hum of the lights, the rain against the windows. She pressed the button for the elevator. It opened immediately. She got in, pressed G for ground floor, and the doors closed. The elevator went down. She was looking at her phone, checking if Jamie had texted. When she noticed it had been going down for too long, like way too long for 9 floors, she looked up at the floor indicator. It wasn't showing any numbers, just a dash. Then it stopped. The doors opened, and Sandy noticed that what was in front of her was not a lobby. The air hit her first. It was crazy heavy. Without even stepping out, she could see the darkness of the floor. She was terrified because she knew she was not on the right floor, but she got out anyway. The view that was in front of her was creepy enough to make anyone tremble from fear. It was the same floor that she took the elevator from, but it was like visibly different, dark, destroyed, almost abandoned floor with walls dripping something, I don't know, probably mold type shit. Sandy immediately understood something is wrong. Something is terrible. The space was too silent, like she could hear herself breathing. She made a safe decision to go into the elevator and get out of there, but she noticed that elevator doors were closed and wouldn't open no matter how much she pressed the button. Probably it was the mechanical fault or something worse. She was stuck on that floor. She started walking, looking for the stairs. She couldn't find anything. She was panicking at this point when she saw a dark, shadowy figure dripping black tar type thing at the end of the hallway. She froze. The figure wasn't moving, just standing there at the end of the hallway, dripping, completely still. Sandy couldn't make out a face, couldn't make out any features at all, just a shape. A tall, dark, wet shape that shouldn't exist. She pressed herself against the wall next to the elevator and just stopped breathing for a second. Then the figure turned its head. Not its body, just its head. Slowly, the way something turns when it hears a sound it recognizes. And even though Sandy couldn't see eyes, couldn't see a face, she felt it looking directly at her. She did the only thing her body let her do. She ran. Not towards it, sideways. Into the first open doorway she could find, an old office building destroyed, chairs turned over, desk rotting, papers on the floor so old they had turned brown. She got behind the desk and crouched down and put her hand over her mouth and just listened. Dripping sounds in the hallway, slow and steady, getting closer. She looked through the gap under the desk and saw it pass the doorway. Black liquid dropping from it onto the floor with every step, leaving a trail. It walked slowly, no rush at all, like it had all the time in the world, like it knew she wasn't going anywhere. It passed the doorway and kept going. Sandy stayed behind that desk for what felt like 20 minutes, but probably was 4. Then she got up slowly, legs shaking, and crept back to the hallway. The trail of black liquid went left. She went to the right. She found the stairwell door at the far end of the hallway. She pushed it open and started going up. Except the stairs didn't go up. They just kept going down into the darkness, and she couldn't see where they ended. She went back to the hallway. She tried her phone, no signal. She tried elevator again, nothing. She started crying at that point, quietly, trying to stay silent, when she heard the dripping again, behind her this time, closer than before. She ran again, back into the hallway, trying doors, most of them locked. One of them opened, and she threw herself inside and pressed herself against the wall in the dark and waited. The dripping stopped right outside the door. She could see the black liquid seeping under the gap at the bottom of the door, just slowly spreading across the floor toward her feet. She lifted her feet off the floor, stood on her toes, didn't make a sound. After a long moment, the dripping sound moved away again. Sandy stood there in the dark for a long time. Then, she felt it, a warmth on her left foot. She looked down. The black liquid had reached her shoe, had seeped through without her noticing. She wiped it off with a piece of old paper from the floor and told herself it was fine. It was just mold, just water, just something from the building. She was fine. Except her foot felt strange. Not painful, just strange, heavy, like it wasn't fully hers anymore. She tried the elevator one more time. This time, the button lit up. The doors opened. She got in and pressed G, and the doors closed, and she stood there shaking, watching the floor indicator. Numbers this time. Actual numbers counting up. The doors opened to the lobby. Normal lobby. Security desk. Marble floor. Rain against the glass doors outside. The security guard looked up at her and said, "You okay, miss? You look pale." Sandy walked out into the rain and didn't stop walking until she reached the car. She drove home, got inside. Natalie was asleep on the couch. Jamie was in his room. She went straight to the bathroom and looked at her left foot. The skin where the liquid had touched was dark. Not bruised, dark, like something had gotten underneath it. She told herself it was nothing. Went to bed. By morning, the darkness had spread to her ankle. She didn't go to the doctor. She didn't tell Natalie. She went to work like normal and sat at her desk and gave the presentation, and nobody noticed anything wrong. By the end of the week, she couldn't feel her leg below the knee. By the following Tuesday, she couldn't stand up. Natalie found her on the bathroom floor that morning. And that's when Sandy finally showed her. Natalie said later to the police that she couldn't describe what she saw. Just that it didn't look like a leg anymore. Just that whatever was happening had gone too far for any hospital to explain. Sandy was rushed to the emergency room. Doctors were confused, then concerned, then very quiet in the way doctors get when they don't have a single answer. She was admitted. Tests were run. Nobody could identify what was in her tissue. 3 days later, Sandy was gone. Not dead. Gone. Her bed was empty in the morning. Monitors still attached. IV still in place. Just empty. Like she'd simply stopped being there. They searched the hospital, they searched the building, they put out on a missing persons report, police investigated. Nothing. My name is Natalie, Sandy's sister. This happened 12 years ago. And I'm only talking about it now because Jamie is 19 and he deserves to know the truth about what happened to his mom, since nobody else is going to tell him. They never found her. The police closed the case after 2 years. The building her office was in was demolished in 2019, and I went and stood there on the day they tore it down, and I don't know what I was looking for. I still have the newspaper from the week she disappeared. Small article, page 7. Women missing after a late night at office. Last seen on security footage entering the elevator at 10:58 p.m. Footage after that was corrupted. Jamie asks about her sometimes. I tell him she was the strongest person I ever knew and that she loved him more than anything. I don't tell him about the elevator. I don't tell him about the floor that shouldn't exist. I don't tell him what I saw on her leg that morning on the bathroom floor. Some things you just carry alone.